Part 3. Maximizing Your Gift. Chapter 12. Tale of the Tape. When I was growing up in Cleveland, I used to be a boxer. I absolutely loved the sport as a child, and I still love it now. Any true boxing enthusiast can tell you about the tale of the tape, which is a pre-fight analysis that shows detailed measurements for each fighter. When you watch the tale of the tape on TV, the measurements typically include each boxer's age, weight, height, and arm reach. Back in the day, it also used to include bicep, chest, waist, thigh, neck, calf, and even ankle measurements. While you and I may not be able to do a whole lot with all those numbers, true fight analysts can identify strengths and weaknesses before a single punch is thrown. Know your opponent. One of the greatest fights in the history of boxing was the 1974 Rumble in the Jungle between the undefeated heavyweight champion George Foreman and former heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali. The fight took place in Kinshasa, Zaire, now Democratic Republic of the Congo. And nearly all of the experts predicted that the younger, stronger, more powerful champion would defeat the older, flamboyant, but weaker former champion. Ali knew better than anyone what his strengths and weaknesses were. He knew he couldn't punch harder than Foreman, and he knew that his typical dancing around the ring was not going to have the same impact on Foreman as it had on previous fighters with different skills. Ali assessed his challenger's skills and looked at them next to his own. As a result, he devised a strategy that he had never used before. For the better part of 8 rounds, Ali leaned back against the ropes, allowing Foreman to throw punches that took major effort and caused minimum damage. In the meantime, Ali would get in close to Foreman, lean on him so that Foreman was holding Ali up, and take quick jabs to his face. By the 8th round, Foreman was weak from all the blows in Ali's jabs. Ali knocked Foreman out in that round and stunned many in the boxing world. Ali was not the stronger fighter on that day, but he was the fighter who had done a better side-by-side assessment of skills. You have to take on this same mindset as you are looking at new opportunities, new career moves, and even relationships. Just like in boxing, what is a weakness against one fighter may be a strength against another. When you look at your list of skills, what are your potential advantages and disadvantages? If you have strong skills in communications, project management, and team building, but you have weaknesses in budgeting and finance, it is unlikely that your skills would match up well for a chief financial officer position. On the flip side, if you have strengths in technology and digital design, your skills could line up well for a chief technology officer. Make sure you know your opportunity, relationship, or job well enough to size up its requirements in relation to your skills so that you can knock it out of the park. Success requires your best effort. You cannot give your best when you don't know what your best is. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses is important because you need to learn how to maximize your wins and minimize your losses. Taking on the challenges of life, business, work, health, and family means you will have to take and throw a lot of punches. Being honest about your weaknesses will put you in a place to take fewer punches and minimize being knocked off your path to success. Finally, each of us has the ability to either evolve and grow stronger or remain stagnant and become weaker. When you know what you do well, you can develop a strategy for growth. All of this is possible with a little work, but none of it can happen if you don't take the time to know your strengths and acknowledge your weaknesses. How to know your strengths and weaknesses. Assessing your strengths and weaknesses is not an emotional process. Rather, it is a process for you to catalog your skills. Knowing what you do well versus what you still need to improve upon will help you to identify your personal skills and traits. As you begin this treasure hunt to uncover your qualities, here are the areas to start looking for your strengths and weaknesses. Knowledge-based skills. These skills include degrees, languages, technical knowledge, industry-specific skills, or managerial knowledge that you have gained from educational training or professional experience. Transferable skills. These skills include everyday knowledge that you can bring with you into any situation, such as communication skills, financial knowledge, customer service, leadership, problem solving, and project management. Character skills. Traits such as honesty, timeliness, hard work, trustworthiness, and confidence are great characteristics that will serve you well both personally and professionally. First, let's take a look at your personal and professional relationships. What are the skills you demonstrate in interpersonal relationships? Are you a good listener? Are you supportive? Now, think about the areas for improvement. Can you be more patient? Do you need to work on your ability to compromise? Next, let's focus on your professional career. What are the skills you have needed to do your job well? What are the skills that your employers ranked you highly on during your performance reviews? What were the areas that were marked for continued growth and improvement? Now that you have a list of skills in these two major areas, I want you to identify what kind of skill it is. For example, knowledge-based, transferable, or characteristic. Note whether it is a strength or a weakness, and evaluate each as follows: superior, good, proficient, and needs improvement. So that you can get an idea of how to rank your skills, I have included my own tale of the tape, which you can find on the enhanced PDF. This self-assessment will give you an honest picture of yourself, but before you complete your sheet, you have to be committed to two things. You have to complete your assessment based on where you are today. No beating yourself up over past weaknesses or undervaluing strengths when you have clearly grown in certain areas. What are your skills? Write them down on your own personal tale of the tape table, included on the enhanced PDF. Using an outside observer. Your personal assessment is important, but you also need an outside perspective. You may want to consider hiring a business development coach to assess your skills. If that's not possible, you might ask a longtime colleague or a trusted friend to objectively evaluate your skills. If there are a number of people you can rely on in your inner circle, you may want to consider one person to give you a personal assessment and another for your professional assessment. As you start working with your outside observer, here are 3 things to keep in mind. Number 1, be open. Your feedback with your outside observer will be more effective if you can let go of your beliefs and hear what your observer has to say. Number 2, keep your emotions in check. Your observer might uncover something that might hit a nerve. Don't shut down when you hear something uncomfortable. Stay in the moment and use this conversation as an opportunity to learn and grow. Number 3, listen with your head and not your heart. Identify areas where your strengths and weaknesses impact your life in ways you previously had not thought about. Managing strengths and improving weaknesses. There are traits of your strengths and weaknesses that you must understand to ensure your success. Stepping up your strengths. Be confident, but not cocky. Know your strengths and use them to your advantage. Be confident enough to insert your skills into opportunities that will provide advancement and growth. However, even your strengths have limits. Know your limitations and manage them well. Stay fight ready. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is not always the most popular person, but he has the distinction of almost always being at fight weight. Most boxers have to train for months to get to a fighting weight. Likewise, you have to consistently work on your strengths. Continued education, supplemental training, and reading everything you can get your hands on will not only keep your skills sharp, they will also help you to grow. Develop or die. If you do not develop other strengths, your enemies will always know what you will use. Switch things up. Learn and master other skills and apply them strategically so that you can stay ahead of the marketplace and your industry. Working on your weaknesses. Protect your weaknesses. Like Ali, you don't have to expose your weaknesses. Remember to identify opportunities that speak to your strengths. Choose your weakness. Weaknesses are only a detriment if you allow them to be. Create partnerships with people whose strength is your weakness. Learn from them and build that area so that you can grow stronger. Develop or die. If you stay the same, your enemies will know where to attack you. Continue to develop, and even areas that need improvement can be assets. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses is without question the difference between your success and your failure. Assess your skills and develop a strategy so that your skills will always be used for your advancement. Success notes. What are the strengths you want to focus on for your next opportunity, job, or relationship? What are 3 opportunities you can connect your skills to? What is one weakness you want to strengthen, and how will you do so? Chapter 13. Never be afraid to reinvent yourself. One thing that has helped me throughout my entire career is that I've never been afraid to reinvent myself. When I was the host for Celebration of Gospel for 13 years, that was a complete 180-degree turn from being one of the original kings of comedy. I used my past experience of growing up in church to host Celebration of Gospel, which then propelled me into a broader space of people. My willingness to reinvent myself yet again from being a solo act to being part of a touring act with a group of men opened the door for the film The Original Kings of Comedy, which then propelled me on a national level as never before. Next, at the request of HarperCollins, I had an offer to write my first book. I never set out to become an author, but I released myself from that fear, and that book went on to be a great success. The popularity of Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man led to Fremantle Media coming to me and saying, "You are very popular among women. We have a game show we'd like you to look at." Thus came the birth of me hosting Family Feud. I always wanted to do a late-night talk show, but after my success with Family Feud, NBC and Endemol approached me. "We have a daytime project for you." I lost my fear of daytime television and launched into doing my own show. My constant willingness to reinvent myself has helped me not to get stuck on stale, meaning desiring one thing my entire life. Change comes in every person's life. You can either react to it or you can participate in it. I choose to participate in all the changes in my life. If you live your life reacting to change, you are then behind the 8 ball. My choice is to be proactive and to participate in the change. I truly believe that that's been a huge part of my success. The more willing you are to accept change and to be a part of change, the more successful you will become. Maximizing your experiences. Diversifying your gifts also means knowing how to use other experiences in your life. Most of us really only have one talent. My talent is to take information and to immediately transfer it into other kinds of platforms. I know how to take information and transform it into comedy, inspiration, motivation, and/or guidance. I thought my only talent was transforming information into comedy. As I've gotten older, my experiences have shown me that I can take that information and transform it into being an inspiring, sharing, and motivating person. If you are a hairdresser, your gifts may lead to teaching or leading seminars at a hair school or creating hair products or hosting your own hair TV show. You never know. You just have to stay open to diversifying your gift. Let me break it down using my friend Irvin Magic Johnson. Magic is one of the greatest basketball players the world has ever seen. But I don't believe that his gift is playing basketball. I believe that his gift is connecting with people in a way that few can. Basketball was a talent. What Magic has done off the court is his gift, strengthening communities with resources and commerce by convincing the right people to believe in his vision. His talent put him in the position to exercise his gift. Watching Magic Johnson navigate a post-basketball career, you realize that this man can talk to anyone from any background and make them believe their idea is possible. That is his real gift, and he has been able to create the kind of business and personal relationships with that gift that have far eclipsed his basketball prowess. When you commit yourself to excellence, even a talent can take you to amazing places. Sinbad was a guy I really looked up to back when I started in comedy. I remember him telling me one evening that he was able to pull in $50,000 per week at some of the clubs where he performed. At the time, I thought I was doing all right just making $500 a week. But when I heard about the kind of money that Sinbad could command, I made it my goal to earn that kind of money and then some. My inability to not be able to work all types of crowds wasn't going to get me any closer to that $50,000 paycheck. I had to step up my game, study my craft, and truly learn what was going on in the world so I could create the kind of jokes that would allow me to share my gift with large audiences. You are not a sellout if you expand your gifts and talents for wider appeal among a broad audience or a bigger arena. The more open you are, the faster you will realize your dreams. An expansive vision is necessary when reaching for your life's possibilities. We cannot allow small-mindedness to interfere with our rewards. Step outside your comfort zone and try something new, something adventuresome when utilizing your gift. The Bible says, "I've come to give you life, and life more abundantly." Nowhere in that scripture does it say, "I've come that you might have a comfortable, safe, boxed-in life that makes everybody happy." Diversifying your gift presents you with the opportunity to reach people that you wouldn't have been able to connect with previously. There are windows of blessings that God has just for you if you have the faith to take your gift to the next level. When I first wrote Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man in 2009, I was diversifying my gift. We have to learn to dream bigger than our past and current circumstances to create a bigger picture that will inspire us to move forward. Steeped but not stuck. One group of musicians that I'm really proud of right now are the Roots. If you're not watching the new Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, you are missing out on the chance to see one of the baddest bands in the land do their thing every night. What I love about the Roots is that this is a band that started out as a live hip-hop group in Philadelphia. But when you tune in to the Tonight Show, they're playing with everybody from Nas to U2 to Steven Tyler to Willie Nelson. The Roots are a band that is clearly steeped in hip-hop and the traditions of soul music, but they're not stuck there. This band clearly appreciates their roots, pun intended, but they haven't allowed their past to keep them stuck in one vision for the future of their career. By all means, I don't want you to throw any of the traditions, legacies, and skills that came along with your gift out of the window. This unique set of traits is what makes your gift different from everyone else. While you should take the time to accentuate your gift in all the rich techniques and tricks of the trade you've learned over the years, don't get stuck there. I don't want you to fall in the trap of only knowing how to bake a wedding cake the way your mother taught you when you first joined her shop in 1985. I know you play a mean guitar with your band on Saturday night, but don't miss out on the opportunity of learning how to play an acoustic guitar for a retirement party during the week. Who knows? That retirement party might be more live than your Saturday night gig if you pick the right song. I love the late comedian Richard Pryor. I can probably quote most of the sets from his popular comedy albums, but getting stuck on Pryor is not the kind of comedic skill that would get me invited to host Celebration of Gospel. Doing something that makes a church mother laugh is different from rocking a crowd in a comedy club on a Friday night. When I did my comedy special, Don't Trip, He Ain't Through With Me Yet, in 2006, it was one of the first shows where I played to a predominantly Christian audience. I prayed to God that I wouldn't slip up and cuss in front of these good people. He blessed me with rich, humorous material that was well suited for that audience and beyond. My roots didn't change, just my material. Don't let your background become a limitation. The smartest folks in business take the best of what they have learned from their parents, mentors, colleagues, and bosses and use it to build from there. You will never hear an innovator such as Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, or Oprah Winfrey say, "We are doing it this way because that's how it's always been done." Successful people appreciate where they have come from, but they don't let their past set the tone for their future. Successful people are innovators. Success notes. Take a moment to write down all the skills and talents that come along with your gift. It could be as small as knowing how to create an agenda for a meeting, or as large as organizing a Labor Day picnic for your office. List ways that you can diversify or expand your gift to a wider audience or a bigger arena. Don't be afraid to think big here. How can you really take your gifts to the next level? Chapter 14. The Power of No. Many years ago, I owned a comedy club. One of the things I learned about myself after that business was that I would never, ever sell alcohol to another person. The worst experience I have ever had was talking to drunk people. I told God when I got out of the comedy club business, I would never promote alcohol again. It was easy to keep this promise until Crown Royal became the official sponsor for the Kings of Comedy tour. I was hosting the show when the promoter gave me a list of positive stuff to say about Crown Royal to get people to buy it. I said no. He started telling me how much money we were making because of Crown Royal, which was true. And there's nothing wrong with the product when used in moderation, if that is what you choose to drink. But I had made a promise that I would not use my fame or fortune to promote the consumption of alcohol. I have other vices. I smoke cigars. I'm not perfect, but I do not choose to promote alcohol. It became a huge problem. The promoter threatened to cut my money and pull the sponsorship. There were a few verbal altercations, along with the promoter standing by the side of the stage trying to make me sell alcohol. He also told me I had to. I told him I wouldn't, and he couldn't make me. This battle went on for about 6 weeks. He did everything to make me promote alcoholic beverages. I really liked the people at Crown. They came to the show and were great sponsors. They helped us out in a big way. The crown on the bag signified the Kings. It was a great tie-in. I explained to Crown Royal that I wouldn't sell it because I didn't like what it does to people. Who doesn't understand that? Because I am famous, the star of the Steve Harvey show, they realized that if I said it, it would carry a lot more weight. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to drink it. As a person of integrity, I'm saying that I will not sell to people something I won't use. I had to stand my ground. Crown Royal understood what I was talking about. They understood that they couldn't make me promote their brand. I stood for something. I have always thought it was important to stand for something, and I stood proudly. No is a powerful word. I risked being fired to stand up for what I believe in. Being able to say no will help you become confident in setting personal standards, as well as being comfortable setting boundaries, both of which are critical in your journey towards success. The power of no. Saying no gives you a set of powers that I like to call the 5 E's. They are as follows. The power of energy. Saying no gives you the energy to focus on the things in your life that move you closer to your destiny. The power of reduced ego. Saying no is also being strong enough to admit that you can't do everything. Even when we're trying to be the best, we have to realize we are not God. Don't try to do it all. The plan that you have for your gift will guide you. The power to empower. Saying no gives you the ability to let someone else shine. Recommend another person for the honor. Your no will open the door for others to rise. The power to end enabling. Some people say yes all the time to save someone else who is supposed to be doing it. Stop. Your no forces someone to step into the place they're being called to. Even if you let them fail once, you are helping them in the long run. Your yes is only delaying the inevitable. The power to rob your enemy. People may want to steal and manipulate your gift. Saying no allows you to use your gift and power in the right place at the right time for the right purpose. Stop giving your gift to those who want to use you for the development of their legacy at the cost of yours. Do not let anyone distract you from focusing on your vision. Maximizing this power will help you avoid all kinds of situations that take you further and further off the path to your success. The no test. When I talk to people about saying no, one of the questions I get most often is, how do you know what to say no to? And that is a good question. Because not every opportunity, relationship, or experience that comes your way, even everything you want, is good for you. Have you ever thought you wanted something, and then you were presented with it, said yes, and shortly after, wish you had said no? Me too. Well, let me give you a list that will help you determine what offers warrant a no. Does this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc. move you closer to one or more of the items on your vision board? Yes or no? Does this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc. support your gift? Yes or no? Does this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc. conflict with something you are doing or need to get done that is in line with one or more of the items on your vision board? Yes or no? Does this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc. mutually benefit both you and other parties involved, regardless of who it benefits more? Yes or no? Does this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc. conflict with a moral belief even if it benefits you in other ways? Yes or no? Are you being fairly compensated, as you see it, for this opportunity, event, relationship, job, request, etc.? Yes or no? Does this help you get closer or take you further from that which you have listed as the goal? Saying no now will give you victory later. Part 4. Creating Your Legacy. Chapter 15. Healing Your Haters Through Success. The Bible says, life and death lies in the power of the tongue. In your quest to become successful and to get more, be more, and have more, there is going to be opposition. Sad to say, but opposition is not always just circumstances. A lot of times it's other people, and those people show up as haters. Every time you make a decision to do more, be more, want more, here comes opposition. The good news is that there is no progress without it. There's no need to address the opposition because it will be ongoing. The only cure for enemies is success. Your first thought may be, I could really set them straight. Yes, you could. But in order to set them straight, you have to interrupt your climb to do so. My father told me never to take my foot off a ladder to kick someone kicking at me. When I do that, I am no longer climbing. While they are kicking, my father told me, keep stepping. They can only kick one time. As I continued to climb, they were left behind. In trying to hurt me, impede my progress, they got left behind. They got sidetracked from their agenda. Look at success as being on a ladder. Every time you step on the ladder, you have to lift 1 foot higher than the next one. If you stop to address a foe, you're not raising your foot to the next level. You're now spending time with a person who is not a decision maker, a power broker, or a shaker and a mover. They are merely a hater. Their one goal is to impede your progress, and the moment you stop to address them, you have helped accomplish it. You cannot afford to spend a single day on that kind of energy. No one I know who is about business addresses opposition. They don't have the time. In all of this space, enemies have no significant value anywhere. No advertiser says, "Oh, wait a minute, we're going to advertise here, but let's check what the haters say." No one who prints books says, "Hey, we're about to publish this book, but before we do, let's check and see what the haters are reading." No one who's looking to fill a position says, "Hey, we're looking for haters. We've got a high-paying hater position available." If you understand people of power, decision makers, power brokers, shakers, and movers, you know that they don't even know the haters exist. Why should you? My daddy used to always tell me, "Son, don't give him a pen to stick you with." One time, I was going through something and Tyler Perry called me. Tyler said, "Steve, when they blog about you, it's just a blog. If you respond, it's a press conference." Along the same lines, it is a common thing for a dog to bark up at the moon. But if the moon barks back at the dog becomes famous. You don't have time for small people. You don't have time for the opposition. Any way you want to look at this, the only way to heal a hater is through success. And at no point in time does it serve you any good to address a hater in any shape, form, or fashion. You are merely putting a spotlight on a dull person. You are giving shine to a person who has no brilliance. I've learned self-restraint by observing our president. I've never seen a man more noble or regal in the face of adversity. He could stop and address it all, but he doesn't. He just plods along with the job of being the president in the face of intense adversity. We can say the same thing about Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa. The Reverend Billy Graham has a wonderful book titled Nearing Home. This man dedicated his life to teaching people one thing: righteousness and the Word of God. Yet there were still people who criticized him. Throughout history, you can see examples of people who have been attacked, but they just kept putting 1 foot above the next and continued to climb up to the next rung. When did Nelson Mandela stop to address the haters? When did Martin Luther King Jr. stop to address the haters? He just kept marching, and he just kept sitting in. When did Gandhi stop to address the haters? You don't have the time, nor can you expend the energy to address opposition. They have no power over you unless you give it to them. Martin Luther King Jr. said something that I will always remember. He said, "A man can't ride your back unless you bend over." Don't bend over. Stay tall. Keep climbing. There isn't a week that goes by that someone doesn't have something to say about Steve Harvey. I have no problem standing square in the middle of the public's opinion because I decided years ago that I would never give anyone the power to define who I am. We live in a free country where people can say whatever they want about me. But at the end of the day, I choose, and I'll say that again. I choose how those words will affect me and my destiny. And I make the choice every day not to let anyone's negativity stop me from fully operating in my God-given gift. People who are stuck in the muck and the mire of their misery will spew out their venom on others just to deflect from their own everyday struggles. Some days we can withstand the pot shots better than others. The question becomes, how do you stay motivated and moving toward your goals in an environment filled with negativity? How does negativity show up in our lives? On any given day, there is bound to be some kind of negative energy showing up in your life. whether it's from a coworker, a random person on the street, or, regrettably, your spouse. If you're kicking and breathing, there's sure to be some negativity headed in your direction today. Negativity can show up as any pessimistic, critical, or harmful energy that takes you off your path towards success. If you're not careful, not only will that negative energy take you off track, but it will in fact consume you. Before you know it, you've spent a whole day thinking about, well, was I really that bad? Or what do they mean by that? So, how do we take back our power and stand up tall throughout our journey? We have to learn to become skilled at deflecting negative energy and keeping our eyes focused on our vision. Look at Oprah. Her vision and ambition to create the OWN network is a prime example of someone who succeeded despite her naysayers. Her critics were counting her out when she began OWN. You couldn't open a paper or read a blog without someone harping on the network's low ratings or saying, "Who does she think she is to start her own network?" Or, "She should have just gone on ahead and retired at the Oprah Winfrey Show." It's a good thing that Oprah doesn't need anybody's validation to keep her vision moving forward. Oprah went on to do what Oprah does best. She exceeded everyone's expectations by making OWN profitable in less than 3 years, with quality shows such as Iyanla, Fix My Life, and Tyler Perry's The Have and the Have-Nots. Oprah could have easily taken her billions and went off to an island somewhere after the Oprah Winfrey Show. And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't have been mad at her for doing so. But that woman's drive to win, succeed, and most important, to teach and share with others along the way is truly something to behold. I remember my first few months hosting the Steve Harvey Show on television when Oprah personally called me. After one of my episodes aired, she said, "Steve, don't you let those people talk you out of being who you are. You gotta stay true to you." The fact that the queen of daytime television took a moment to call me and help me keep my vision focused and moving in the right direction means more to me than I can ever express. Take a cue from Oprah's example. You are definitely going to have haters coming from the left and haters coming from the right. Who are you going to be in the face of your critics? Will you fall under the weight of someone else's opinion? Or will you rise to the occasion and let your haters motivate you to even bigger success? Here are the 4 kinds of haters you need to look out for. The I hate everything hater. It could be a beautiful day without a cloud in the sky, and the I hate everything hater will find a reason to complain. Even when good things happen, they never seem to come out of their cloud of contempt. The scary thing about these kinds of haters is that they are often angry about something that happened so long ago they can barely remember the details. The whole world has moved on, but they are stuck in a moment and don't know how to escape. This type of energy can be the worst because it is all-consuming and persistent. You also have to remember that the energy coming from the I hate everything haters is seldom about you. They don't want to be stuck in their misery any more than you do. But because they can't see their way out, they will lash out at the closest person to them. So if you happen to be in their path, brush their negativity off and get on with your life. Stop giving them a place to store their negativity, and they will stop sending it to you. Do you realize how much negative energy we allow people to send to us? Have you ever known someone who tries to find ways to argue with you? They know your buttons. They push them every time, and like clockwork, you respond. Don't sit around and take abuse, but rather move and force them to take their negativity somewhere else. I realize that with family and even spouses, this can be challenging. But in some relationships, we are unfortunately forced to choose between someone else's peace or our own. Don't you dare let their energy destroy your success. The drag you down hater. The drag you down hater is someone who hates you because they wish they could be you. But instead of doing the things you do to get where you are, they would rather drag you down with them by stealing your energy, dreams, and success. The world has done a great job of producing these kinds of haters because we have reduced positive messages about your gift and increased messages that make people feel entitled to things that are not for them. Social media has given this enemy a brand new tool of power. There used to be a time when your haters were just stuck in your physical world. Now you can have an enemy in the Midwest on Facebook who just hates you because you're living a life that they want. While that may seem ridiculous, it speaks to how pervasive this kind of negative energy is. It can come from anyone who is secretly admiring your life but doesn't know how to celebrate you. In the fall of 2005, I started a new radio contract in New York with syndicated radio in just 4 markets. People all around me who I thought should have supported me were talking behind my back and saying that I was making a huge mistake. I can't tell you how many folks were laughing at me, but I was determined that I was going to build a radio empire that would fuel the next level of my career. I worked hard, stayed focused, and before I knew it, the Steve Harvey Morning Show had expanded into 72 markets. The situational hater. Situational haters are hypocrites who will use you for their own benefit. They're like piranhas in the water, waiting to take you down at any moment. They will compete with you to take advantage of a new opportunity. They will lie and spread misinformation about your character and your performance. These enemies are smart, but the best way to cut them off is to keep your master plans and your ambitions private. If they don't have any information, then they don't have any power over you. The self-hate hater. The self-hate hater is often one of the toughest to defeat because it is the one staring right back at you in the mirror every day. There are times when the negativity that comes from the world is nothing compared to the negative energy we deposit into our own lives. Low self-esteem, doubt, shame, and pessimism have killed more dreams and blocked more success journeys than any outside enemy. When you are your own worst enemy, you have to bring your own light. When you imprison yourself in your own fears, you have to find the keys to set yourself free. In order to get beyond your fears, you have to remember your worth and your value. You have to get up every morning and affirm that talent that God has put inside you. You cannot let your fears, doubts, and insecurities stop you from taking hold of your destiny. You can navigate the negativity of any of these enemies even if you have never been strong against them before. Become the positive energy that will be a light, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Your gift and your vision are relying on it. Chapter 16. Life's Magical Balance. Gaining life's riches is about more than just earning a paycheck. Being truly wealthy means that you are investing quality time in your marriage or long-term relationship, devoting your time and energy to your children, making your home your sanctuary, and staying on top of your health. For me, the light of my world is my wife, Marjorie, our 7 children, and working at something I truly love to do. But even beyond those blessings, success is also about truly being in the moment when I am with my family and having the energy and right frame of mind to continue doing the work that I love. Striking the right balance between my family, my career, my home life, and yes, even time for me, only happens when I create a place to ensure that each area of my life receives quality attention. Here's how you can begin to truly enjoy and savor the treasures that come along with your gift. Falling off balance. There was a time in my career when I truly felt like I was successful. I had the career, the money, the cars, and the clothes. I had finally risen to a level in my comedy career where I could go wherever and buy whatever I wanted. But if I was really honest with myself, I knew I wasn't very happy. I worked hard, and I was proud of my success, but I wasn't always the nicest person to be around. When you don't have all your chips stacked properly, you might get good at hiding the truth from the public, your friends, and even your family. But at the end of the day, you know when your world isn't quite right. I was a successful professional, yet I was missing out on life's true riches. I had an off-the-hook brand with a less-than-stellar biography. I knew I had to create a life system that brought balance to how I looked at all aspects of my world and would prepare me to receive all of life's riches instead of just being rich. Is your world currently off balance? If so, you're not alone. The demands of today's society almost force you to work 100 hours per week to become a partner or put in 120 hours just to make it as an entrepreneur. And if you have children, your schedule becomes even more hectic with homework and after school and weekend activities. Then you have to consider time for exercising, eating right, connecting with your house of worship, and having meaningful time just for you. I don't believe that a true life balance is about time equity. There will be times when you have to put in more hours at work because your child's tuition depends on the extra income, or when you put in more time at home because your spouse needs the support. It becomes imperative to find flexible ways to check in with your family when your schedule becomes more demanding, or to negotiate alternative work options with your employer, such as working remotely or working at off-peak hours so that you can be there for your family and still pay the bills. And we all have to find ways to bring our physical well-being closer to the top of our priorities because without our health, we simply cannot function. So, are you ready to create a success balance that works for your life? The Success Formula. This is a simple formula that I have taken on in my life, and I want you to find ways to add this into your life too. Here it is. Home plus health plus finances equals success. The beauty of this formula is that as long as you are adding effort to each component every week, you will always maintain a successful balance. There's one catch. Under no circumstances can your priorities for your home, health, or finances ever receive less than 5% of your attention each week. Let's dive into each area and explore options for you to invest your time in ways that maximize your gift and position you to receive all life's riches. Protecting home base. The word home takes on a different meaning for everyone. Your home could be the immediate family who lives under your roof, or home could be your close circle of friends who are just like brothers and sisters to you. But whoever gets to reap the benefits of your success, you have to make sure that you are investing the appropriate time and energy into the people who are most important to you. Why? The answer is obvious. By the ways they enrich your life. We all have our greatest hits of excuses for not spending enough time at home. Here are some excuses. Baby, you know I'm working these long hours so that I can make money for you. I'm sorry, son. Daddy was just too exhausted to make it to your softball game today. I know I promised you that we would catch up for the last 2 weeks, but this project is killing me. In the infamous words of Billy D. Williams in the classic 1975 film Mahogany, success doesn't mean nothing if you don't have someone to share it with. Our success cannot exist when we don't have the time, space, and energy to share it with our loved ones. Treat your home and family as a sacred priority. Make sure that every visitor to your home knows the rules of your house and respects the place that you call home. Don't allow anyone to just come up in your house and violate the peace and serenity that you have created for you and your family. Your home is also about creating a space that becomes your sanctuary. When I got my first significant check, a friend came over to my house and told me I needed to hire a feng shui expert. Now, I'm just a regular country boy from Cleveland, and I certainly didn't know what feng shui was, nor was I too keen about having anything called feng up in my house. But when I learned that feng shui was a technique for aligning your environment with your life's priorities, I was open to it. I invited experts into my house to show me and my wife new color patterns that were supposed to encourage peace and prosperity. They showed us specific ways to arrange the furniture to invite in positive energy and attract wealth, Now, I don't know if all that feng shui really worked. I had my pastor come in and bless the house just in case. But having every aspect of our space in order made a huge difference in truly making our house a home. Here are some additional ways to create quality family time. 1. Carve out dedicated family time. 2. Schedule time with your significant other. 3. Create fun time with the kids. 4. Pray and stay together. 5. Work your honey-do list. 6. Consider hiring help. Honoring your health. I am committed to exercising every day at 3:45 a.m., regardless of whether I am at home or on the road. Why? Because my vision demands it. My daily schedule includes hosting the Steve Harvey Morning Show from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., producing and starring on the Steve Harvey Show from 11:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and after that, I'm back home to take on my husbandly and fatherly duties. Even if I was 10 years younger, there's no way I could manage a demanding schedule such as mine without the energy and endurance I get from working out. Here's a typical Steve Harvey schedule. 3:15 a.m., wake up, prayer. 3:45 a.m., gym workout. 4:45 a.m., report to Steve Harvey Radio Studio. 5 a.m., radio show begins. 9 a.m., radio show ends. 10 a.m., conference calls and business updates. 10:30 a.m., daily talk show production meetings. 11 a.m., hair and makeup, dress. 11:30 a.m., tape show number 1. 2:30 p.m., lunch, conversation with Mrs. Harvey, business updates and conference calls. 4:45 p.m., tape show number 2. 6:45 p.m., wrap. 7 p.m., post-show production meeting. 7:15 p.m., depart for home. 8 p.m., resume husband and fatherly duties at home. At the end of the day, your health is your wealth. We have to put the time in to align our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. We get one body to do our work here on earth, so we have to be serious about getting our rest, eating well, and staying fit. Find out what works for you and get about the business of giving your temple the energy it will need to work your gift and fulfill your purpose. If you are slacking on your health, here are a few tips to get you moving in the right direction. Make sure you schedule and keep your annual checkups. Take the time for some kind of physical activity every day, even if you have to start out with just 20 minutes. Get the maximum amount of sleep that you need each night. Choose a healthy diet that will give you the greatest amount of energy and strength for your lifestyle. Cut out any excessive alcohol from your diet. Drink plenty of water. I'm not a doctor, but I know that your health is just as much a part of your wealth as the zeros in your bank account. Give your body what it needs so that you can have the life you want. Surrendering to your spirit. My goal here is not to prescribe a certain belief system or to make you feel guilty about skipping your worship services more often than you attend. But I would encourage you to find a way to surrender to your spirit on a daily basis, whether that's through prayer, meditation, finding a house of worship, or connecting with a small group of like-minded folks. Whatever will help you to remember that there is a bigger picture and a greater purpose for your life. Get attuned to that vehicle for your spirit and keep that connection going. Monitoring your mental health. Stress and the pressures of our high-powered lives have the capacity to significantly damage our health and our well-being if we aren't paying attention. If you feel yourself veering into a dangerous emotional place that is beyond talking it out with a friend or a trusted spiritual leader, do not, and I repeat, do not be too proud to check in with a mental health professional. Regardless of your race, gender, or economic status, we can't afford not to take our mental health seriously if we want to fully enjoy our success and peace and happiness with our loved ones. Getting your financial house in order. Whether you are a recent graduate just starting out, or if you have multiple businesses with your name on them, we can all be more diligent and proactive about our finances. Those steps can be as small as eating out less or as big as refinancing your home. Successful people know how to use their money wisely today and set themselves up powerfully for the future. A few years ago, right after Marjorie and I got married, I got hit with a tax bill to the tune of $20 million. I woke up to the nightmare of discovering that my accountant hadn't filed my taxes in nearly 6 years. Here I was with the woman of my dreams, and I was now facing a financial hole so deep that it was going to take me a minimum of 12 years to climb out of. I came clean with Marjorie. I started working hard. I took every speaking engagement, book signing, and in-person appearance I could find. I literally lived at the airport, but I wanted to show my wife that I was serious about getting our financial house in order. After signing a strategic deal to sell the Steve Harvey radio network, I was blessed to pay off that bill in half the time. That experience taught me that I never want to have a financial cloud like that hanging over my life ever again. Financial health is about looking at your entire financial picture. Here are some areas to consider. Do you know the difference between good debt, for example, purchasing a home or condo, or investing in your child's education, versus bad debt, for example, carrying high-interest credit card debt? What can you do to cut down on your bad debt and increase the payments for your good debt? Are you willing to track your spending habits to see where you can cut back? Are you putting enough away for retirement or your child's college fund? What can you do to improve your credit score? Can you pay off your smallest credit card? Can you get a lower interest rate on your cards? All of these factors determine how healthy your finances are. Here are 5 things that every success-oriented person must have for a solid financial foundation. Number 1, create a monthly budget. Developing a budget and sticking to it is essential for creating financial accountability for you and your family. Number 2, open a checking and a savings account. Successful people know how to conduct their business above board. Find a bank that you trust and start creating a financial future. Number 3, save, save, save. Whether it's $5 a week or 10% of your paycheck, whatever you can comfortably do, invest in your life and your future by saving now. Number 4, file your taxes. It's simple. Pay your taxes each year on time. Uncle Sam is no respecter of persons. Just ask any celebrity who thought they could get away with not paying taxes. Number 5, invest in your child's financial literacy. Talk with your children now about the importance of budgeting, saving, and investing. Once you have the basics covered, you can now consider the following. Hiring a financial professional. When you reach that tipping point where you need extra help to file your taxes or diversify your portfolio, it is time to consider hiring a bookkeeper, accountant, or financial planner. If you decide to hire a professional, make sure that you have an open relationship where you can check in about your finances at any time. At the end of the day, it is your money. Creating multiple investment opportunities. Look into ways to spread out your eggs in multiple baskets. Remember, your finances, like your health and your home, are only as successful as your investment of time, energy, and excellence make them. Chapter 17. God blesses you to become a blesser. My mother was a Sunday school teacher. I lost count the number of lessons she taught me by the time I was 20 years old. At 57, if I tried to recall them all, it would be another book. One of the things she would always say to me was, God blesses you to become a blesser. Spiritually, I understood that. But let's take it out of the spiritual realm. I want to show you why being a blessing to someone else is one of the most important principles of success. One of the things I discovered early on is that the more people you can help become successful, the more successful you become. When you share your blessings with someone else, you are fulfilling your purpose in this world as a human being. We're all here to help one another. When you receive a measure of success, on whatever level it is, it's your obligation to teach that or share that with someone else. What I have seen with very successful people is that the more they give, the more God puts them in position to continue to give more. This is a principle that escapes far too many people. It is not enough to have a big house on a hill and not show anyone else how to get a big house on the hill. Then you're up there by yourself, and that's no fun. From the time we are children, we had to learn this lesson. You can't play hopscotch by yourself. You can't jump rope by yourself. You can't play hide-and-go-seek by yourself. All the games we played as kids were more fun when shared with others. It's always better when you share the experience with someone else. Don't lose the concept that you learned in childhood, now that you're an adult and want to get into the money aspect of your life. Don't lose that simple principle of sharing. Don't stop playing together now. I love the game of golf, but you can't learn how to play golf and then go out and play it by yourself every day. Golf is a great game of camaraderie, competition, spending time with family and friends, and enjoying some of the most beautifully landscaped places that you will ever see. That's what makes golf amazing to me. It's better on the course with somebody else in my cart. I can turn to one of my buddies and ask him to take a picture of me. It is important that you share your success and enjoyment with someone in your life. What good is it to see beautiful scenery if there's no one to see it with you? Every great moment in life is better when shared. When I receive an award and my wife is sitting in the audience, it's so much better because she is there to witness it. When I got my star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the best part was that my children were able to share that moment with me. The blessing, too, was that my friends and colleagues were there to celebrate the moment with me. Dr. Phil spoke a few words of congratulations. Ellen gave a speech that was filled with kind words, and Cedric and the entire cast from The Steve Harvey Show were there. I got to share this grand moment in my life with the people who mattered the most to me. When you understand that God blesses you to become a blesser, it can open up your life and transform it. The more our Creator trusts us, the more He can trust us with. When I give to someone less fortunate, as much as it can change their life, it actually does even more for me. When I send a child to school who otherwise couldn't afford to go, God will now put me in a position to receive more resources to send 10 more kids to school. Some of you might ask, Steve, why are you taking your money and sending kids to school? I would ask you this. Why do I keep getting the money to send all these kids to school? When you understand that God blesses you to become a blesser, you will realize that giving back will become an important part of your success. I don't know if you have noticed, but when rich people get together, they support each other's causes with checks. Big checks. The less fortunate don't do that. They don't support each other's causes on any level, even when they could share in ways that don't involve money. Rich people do because they get it. They view sharing as a fundamental obligation. What do you think the Met Gala ball is about? All the media shows is the fashion, but the Met Gala is really an event that allows people to give money to a worthy cause. In this case, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. It makes people feel good to give back. In big business, this principle is called ROI, or return on investment. Successful people understand that giving back ultimately improves their bottom line. Successful people are conditioned to give. When you understand how powerful giving is, you will have more to give. You don't have to be rich to comprehend this principle. You can start on a smaller level. You can give time at the local food bank. You can spend time helping your aging father with errands. You can volunteer your time at a college fair. To much who is given, much is required. My mother also taught me, to much who is given, much is required. The requirements are great to those who have been given a lot. As you climb higher, you're going to have to become more of everything. The more you get, the more will be required of you. You have to take more meetings, become more articulate, and be a better manager of time. I don't like reading teleprompters, but now that I'm on television, I had to get used to the teleprompter. I taped too many shows, too many sets, and talked to too many people to remember everything, so I had to learn how to read it. To whom much is given, much is required. I had to become more efficient and more proficient. If you don't adhere to the requirement part, then the giving part stops. Let me be as frank with you as I possibly can. I don't mind taking the time to write this book and compile this information because I realize how blessed I am to be able to do this. I have been beaten up in the process of learning this information. I've taken a lot of hard knocks to learn this information, but it doesn't prevent me from taking the time out of a very busy schedule, a full-time radio host, a full-time television host, a full-time game show host, a full-time husband, a full-time father, a full-time businessman, and with a full-time touring schedule to stop and write a book that I hope will benefit others. I have an obligation at this point in my life to educate people and to give them the tools to help them become more successful. It's now an obligation. There's no need to get mad at the pastor who has a collection plate circulating when you're sitting there benefiting from the word and his message. You can't get mad at the bank for making money off of your money because the bank is holding it for you. You can't get mad at the CEO of the United Way because of the large check he gets. He is helping hundreds of millions of people. You can't get mad at the process. Instead, learn from the example. Become one of those people who are willing to share, educate, gift, help, inspire, lead, and push. Afterward, watch to see what comes your way. People think that the more money you get and hang on to, the more you will have. In the short view, that is true. But eventually, the calling is going to come because to whom much is given, much is required. If you make the money and try to hang on to all of it, God can no longer trust you with the requirement side, so the giving ceases. Just ask anybody who's ever had it all and then lost it. If they're honest with you, they'll attest to this principle. Success is not just about your ability to achieve, but also your ability to serve through sharing. True success lives in our legacies. If you are able to serve as a model for the next generation, those who grow to greater levels will be as much your legacy as your own accomplishments. Another key to true success is thankfulness and gratitude. These emotions are demonstrated by sharing with others. Your success shouldn't only be for you. It should also be a blessing for others. I'm talking about really getting to the core of what fuels your gift, what's going to sustain your gift when there are more days in a month than money in your bank account, and what it takes to stand confidently in your vision against all the odds. By now, you know that your gift is that thing that you do and can do better than nearly anyone else. God isn't going to just open up a door of opportunity for you to use your gift if you're not doing your part to use it and share your gift whenever you can. Matthew 25:23 says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things." When you master the few, you get the many. When you really love your craft, you don't mind doing it for free or taking the time to mentor someone coming up in the ranks behind you. You have acknowledged your gift. As you begin to walk in your gift, success will begin to follow you wherever you go. Pay it forward. This is Mike Hodge. We hope you have enjoyed this unabridged production of Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, Discovering Your Gift and the Way to Life's Riches by Steve Harvey. This program was produced by John Marshall Media and directed by Zane Birdwell. Engineered by Nathan Rossborough. Executive producer, Aaron Wicks. Text copyright 2014 by Steve Harvey. Production copyright 2014 by HarperCollins Publishers. All rights reserved. Thank you for listening.